The number of nuclear plant emergency workers has been doubled, but the situation at Fukushima appears to be deteriorating.
And a former Minnesota nurse is found guilty of encouraging a suicide of a Canadian student. Humber News starts right now.
Hello, it's Wednesday, March 16, 2011. Welcome to Humber News. Coming to you from the Broadcast Center here at the North Campus, I'm Sarah Jacob. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Mike Van Oosten. Ahead on our show, we have all your news, sports, and entertainment highlights, as well as your 5-day weather forecast. But first, Sarah has our top story.
Emergency workers that were forced to retreat from Japan's Fukushima nuclear plant when radiation levels soared are preparing to return to work now that emissions have dropped to safer levels. The pullback costs precious time in the fight to prevent a nuclear meltdown. The number of workers at the plant was doubled from 50 to 100. Japanese officials say because of the circumstances, they had no choice but to more than double the maximum radiation exposure for nuclear workers. Elevated radiation levels have been detected well outside the emergency area around the plant, and some radiation was also detected in Tokyo. Earlier today, Japan's emperor addressed his nation, expressing his condolences and encouraged his people to pull together as the country tries to get through this crisis.
Back at home, a Kitchener man is suing Toronto police for detaining him and searching his bag in a public park before a G20 protest last summer. In a 10-minute video posted on YouTube, University of Waterloo student Luke Stewart declines to be searched by 3 officers, saying police must detain him in order to search through his belongings, or else the search is illegal. A police officer persists, saying, "Those are the rules." When Stewart tried to pass the police, he was detained and his bag was searched. Stewart says his swimming goggles were taken. Stewart is claiming $25,000 in damages.
The family of a Brampton woman who took her life are one step closer to closure. William Melkert Dinkle has been found guilty of aiding the suicide of Carleton University student Nadia Kijiji. The Minnesota man posed online as a female nurse and encouraged 18-year-old Kijiji to commit suicide. Kijiji struggled with depression before jumping into a frozen river in 2008. But while Nadia's story has come to a close, many young people still live with depression. Humber News reporter Tom Yanni investigated the silent killer that has taken so many young lives.
The halls of Humber are vibrant and busy as friends and classmates congregate. The noise and pace undermines the fact that about 1.5 million Canadians live with depression. Liz Sokol, coordinator of counseling services, says there are symptoms people should be aware of.
Huge loss of motivation, huge loss of interest in the program, or much of anything at that point. Other things are inability to sleep, withdrawal from your friends.
The suicide of former University of Carleton student Nadia Kijiji has shone a light on the link between depression and suicide. A closer look at the statistics provides a startling picture of suicide in this country. 24% of deaths in 15 to 24-year-olds are due to suicide, 16% in 16 to 44-year-olds. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for Canadians aged 10 to 24 and 11th leading cause of death in Canada. But students that are suffering can find help right here at Humber.
We can provide counseling for you and help you manage the symptoms of your depression. Health services, you can see a doctor and see if you need any kind of medical treatment.
With the stress of finals upcoming, any students struggling to cope are asked to seek counsel. Tom Yanni, Humber News.
CBC host and Humber grad George Strombolopoulos is the first Canadian named an ambassador for the United Nations World Food Program. The announcement was made just last night public on George Strombolopoulos Tonight, where Stephen Lewis, a former UN envoy for HIV/AIDS, was the guest. Strombo was joining other celebrities such as Drew Barrymore, Susan Sarandon, and singer Christina Aguilera in the battle against world hunger. He learned he was ambassador after a recent trip to Pakistan, where the UN is providing food aid to areas hit by last year's devastating floods.
Torontonians will be able to make use of the Bixi bike sharing program starting May 3rd. The City of Toronto says 1,000 bicycles will be available at 80 locations south of Bloor Street between Spadina and Jarvis. The city says the program will complement public transit, and the bikes are primarily intended for one-way trips under 30 minutes. Torontonians will be able to use the bikes for $95 a day, $40 a month, or $5 a day. Rides over 30 minutes will be charged additional fees.
Today is the deadline for tuition fees for students continuing classes in the spring semester. For those adding courses in the spring, registration will run until May 9th. A payment deadline will be given once you are registered. Students can make payments in person, over the phone, through online banking, or SRS.
Some university students are going to keep their clothes on at the end of the semester. The president of Tufts University in Massachusetts has ended the student tradition of running around naked to end the fall semester. President Lawrence Bacco says the naked quad run has become too dangerous due to excessive alcohol consumption, slippery sidewalks, and dangerously low temperatures.
When we come back, we'll have more news from around the country and the world. Miranda Anthiso will have the sports news, and we'll have your weather forecast with Bridget Trong.
Will the spring showers bring us March flowers? Maybe. I'll let you know what you can expect in your long-term forecast after this break.